I think that home buying is stressful mostly because it's one of the biggest purchases people ever make in their lifetime, especially for first-time home buyers. It's ultimately one of the biggest transactions that they've ever done.
Buying a house is a huge responsibility. It's a huge investment, and it's most often the biggest purchase that most people make. So anything that's really big usually tends to come with fear.
So one of the things that's really important when you're choosing who is going to be helping you through the mortgage process is picking someone who understands where we live, understands what localities may require flood insurance, because that is going to affect your payment, understanding what specific state taxes and city taxes are charged when purchasing a property, because that is going to affect your closing costs.
We communicate directly with the lender to find out before we write the offer to get an estimated cost sheet from that lender so the buyer will know how much they're going to be paying monthly with insurance and everything included and taxes wrapped into that.
And ultimately, I feel like it's part of my job to make sure that my client has heard the numbers right and interpreted them right, because sometimes lenders spit out all this terminology. Maybe my client doesn't really understand it. So I try to work directly with the lender to make sure that in this specific situation on this house, my client knows what the payment is.
The other part of making sure that your finances are together before you purchase is really understanding that, it's not just your mortgage payment that you have to be worried about, and it's not just your closing costs that you have to be worried about or be cognizant of.
I always suggest for my buyers to have an emergency fund for that, for either repairs that come up with the house. It's just like anything else that's a long-term responsibility. Things are going to come up. Things are going to come up that you weren't planning on. It's going to happen when everything is happening at the same time.
What happens if the taxes go up next year? What happens if the insurance goes up? And not just what happens if, but what happens when, because it's going to happen.
And also just to think about too, before even repairs, just your everyday monthly costs. So whether it's the utilities, we try to get that information up front before writing an offer. So we'll ask the seller if they can give us an estimated cost per month on the monthly bill, so that way the buyer will know kind of an estimate, a roundabout number of what it will take to maintain this house.
This house is yours now when you purchase it, and making sure that you have a budget for replacement costs. If you live there 20 years, you're probably going to have to go through a new HVAC system, or maybe some roof repairs, or maybe a new roof. So really knowing where that threshold is and how much it's going to cost, and making sure that you're setting aside money to put back into your investment of your home.